at the Chamber have enjoyed being a sponsor of this event for the beginning, which is just tremendous. And this is how North Bay gets inspired, educated, and ignited. And this next person whom I'm introducing, be careful because I think there's a whole bunch of people out there. Does that sound like Mike? A whole bunch of people out there. I'm here to introduce Brianna Campigotto. Brianna is a dynamic young entrepreneur and owner of Be Real Studios. Brianna was awarded this year's Young Professional of the Year by the Chamber of Commerce. She's a certified yogi, a registered holistic nutritionist, and a maker of natural wellness products. That isn't what this says. Mike was writing it last night, and it says Anna Mark, and I don't know what that meant, but it's a maker. It's a maker of natural wellness products. One of Ignite's founding volunteers, she is a community-minded and believes in living authentically and, above all, keeping it real. Please join me in welcoming Brianna Campigotto.
Hello. Okay, there's a screen. So many words can be said in one little meme. I signed up for Ignite 5, and my dad was like, it's like Science Week, and I'm like, challenge accepted. I really should be holding this. I'm like my dad, I like to move. Okay, it's fine. So I signed up for Ignite 5, and I was like ready to go, and then, time came to actually write my speech. And I'm sitting in the studio, and my employee Michaela is sitting across from me. I'm like, Michaela, I gotta write this thing. I gotta merge spirituality and science. And she's like, okay, let's do it. And I'm like, okay. I'm staring at this blank Microsoft Word. I'm like, okay, science. And she's like, science. And I'm like, science. And she's like, science. And I'm not even kidding you. For like 10 minutes, we were just going back and forth in different tones, like science. And like to this day, literally, it'll be really quiet in the studio, and one of us will just be like, science. So I really was super unsure of how to blend, the spiritual and the scientific, whatever that means. And, Michaela's like, Brianna, everything you do is like super scientific, everything from, creating your products, creating new products, mixing your ingredients, everything from, the yoga classes that I sequence and really making sure they have this really nice flow. And I was kind of like, Michaela, I don't think that's, what they mean, because when I think of science, I very much think of, beakers and equations and math. And I was like, I have no business being here. And she was like, no, okay, let's do this. We need to take to the Google, because what else do you do when you're unsure of anything? So I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, because we were at this point, we're like, what is science? So we go on Google and we're like, okay, the definition of science. I'm not going to pretend that I memorized the definition of science. There are a lot of really big words happening, but two words that really kind of stuck with me were the words observation and experiment. Because, in my industry as a yoga instructor, that's literally what I get people to do every single day, is to stop and observe how they're feeling, experiment with moving different parts of the body, experiment with breath work, and notice, really honestly, what might be coming up for you, what happens to your body. And that is practicing mindfulness. And so, I'm thinking about what mindfulness means to me and how I can really create this merge of the scientific and the spiritual. And I'm thinking, when I start my yoga classes, I get everyone to lay down, and I say, take the position of the observer. Just notice. And, that really kind of got me thinking about how there is definitely a science to mindfulness, to being completely present. There is a professor at Cambridge, and he did a speech, and he talked about how when you don't stay in the present, when you're not mindful, and you're either in the past or in the future, you're literally creating alternate realities for yourself. He also said that your mind is a thought-generating machine designed to make predictions about the future, to goal-orient your behavior, which totally makes sense when you think about it for survival purposes. So thinking about this in relation to kind of thinking about your mind as a machine, you really notice that not being present, not being in the moment is really the source of a lot of our suffering. You know, guilt about the past, worrying about the future. A professor at the University of New York said that meditation research shows that literally when you practice mindfulness, you're changing the construction of your brain. You're changing the way that billions of neurons are firing. Here's a scan of Buddhist monks and nuns after they have meditated or prayed. And as you can see, after only 10 minutes, you're completely changing the way that you think. Now, you know, a lot of people, you know, they see this picture and they're like, yeah, okay, this is meditation. I don't have a beautiful long dock looking at these beautiful mountains. And that's not what mindfulness means at all. It doesn't even mean that you have to go to a yoga class. Mindfulness is simply being with someone that you love and being 100% present with them. So as you leave today, I have one challenge for you. I dare you to construct an experiment of simply being mindful for 1 or 2 minutes a day and noticing how it completely changes your brain and noticing or recognizing the power of mindfulness. That's it. Thank you.